Okay, this is the fog light kit from Baja Designs. That's gonna go into my fog light location, both sides. I do have 3 pairs of lights because one I bought for the bike. It was actually the yellows, and these 2 was the actual that came in the actual kit that Baja Designs gave me. Well, they didn't give me, but I bought it. But this is what actually comes in the kit. So your 2 pairs, your brackets, hardware, some splitters, a couple harnesses, and a couple more adapters and more hardware. So this is all that came with the pairs of light, the fog light kit. I had to go on to Baja Designs website and download the instructions. It's funny, there's a 2500 on this picture, but it's for the 1500s. So I'm just gonna follow these instructions and update you guys while I'm doing it. And I'm going to mock this up on the ground first before I attempt to install anything on the truck, just to make sure I know where all the wiring goes and how everything hooks up. So as far as the kit, like I said, these 2 came with my kit because they were sold out with the yellow. Fortunately, I actually bought the yellow earlier for my bike and didn't like how the yellow looked on the bike, so I'm gonna put the white on my bike and use the yellow for the truck. So these 2, the spot and the flood, are going on the truck, and the white flood is going on my bike here. I'll still have to figure out how to do the wiring for this guy, but I'm most likely putting it on my crash bar there on the bottom. So the kit comes with the brackets and the lights that are already, the lenses already set up to where if you mount it sideways, the letters and the logo is upright. So the yellow lights that I actually initially bought for my bike, I just took these 4 screws out, rotated the covers 90 degrees, and that's how they look inside of the bracket. So I got the passenger side mounted already. There is 2 ways that you can mount this piece right here, so make sure you mount it the correct way. That's what it looks like mounted. So I'm gonna finish the driver's side up and lay out all this wiring. So with the instructions that it came with, it does actually tell you, it shows the orientation of how the lights are as filmed. Okay, so the kit itself, it comes with a bunch of splitters, the wiring harness, or actually 2 wiring harnesses, and I pretty much mocked up everything to make sure I understand what's going on. And we are at this stage right now where I got the main harness out here. So this is the relay. This will end up hooking up to my ground, and this will be my positive. From there, there's two wires. One will go to the driver's side, and the other wire will go to the passenger side. The kit comes with 2-in-1 splitters, one female to 2 males, or yep, and the opposite, right? So as far as the instructions now, the top fog light will get the 1-in-2 splitter, and the bottom fog light will get the 2-in-1. So one of these connectors will go into my bottom fog light, like so, and top fog light goes to this splitter. From there, your extra opening, your extra end will connect to the opposite end. What it looks like connected is this. So bottom fog light, this is the splitter right here, right? And top fog light, this is the splitter right here. So the splitters connect to each other just like this, and your bottom fog light will go to the OEM opening. I did label everything just for myself. I use this label maker just so if I'm under the truck, easier for me to tell once I disconnect everything, right, and reconnect everything. Okay, so once again, the bottom fog light splitter will connect to the OEM fog light, and your top one will connect to your main harness. So from there, what they want you to do with that other harness they give you, which looks like this, right? There's a switch connected to this piece and a yellow wire. So this is the harness that is supposed to go to the headlight. They tell you to remove, locate your headlight in this step, right? Oh, sorry, I keep saying headlight, but your high beams. Rather than using the high beam, I'm gonna put this on my Garmin Powerswitch. So that yellow will end up being on my power switch. I'm gonna plug that into there. So instead of what that's gonna do is, rather than when my headlights or when my highlights go on, I can control these lights with my power switch, right? So there you have it. This switch now, it tells you in the instructions to unplug it. Hoping I can do this with one hand. So you're gonna unplug this switch. Toss that to the side, and it comes with this piece right here. You'll plug this in. I'm not gonna plug it in all the way right now. I gotta put some electrical lubricant on there. But it'll plug in just like this, and your other side will plug into your main harness, and your main harness also comes with a switch. So you unplug this same way. And you plug it into that other harness that you have. Alright, and that's pretty much it for the wiring. All that's left is getting this installed on the truck, and I will show you guys how to do that as well. Alright. Okay guys, I just taped up the relay, the main harness, and everything else. So all I have is the ground and power, and this is the passenger side. That's the yellow wire. So I plan on cutting this shorter. This is gonna go to my power switch, but there is a diode here, so if you are gonna cut it on the opposite, the side further away from the harness, right? So I'm gonna cut it on this side and connect this side to my power switch. Okay. I already ran the driver side. This wire right here. That's the driver side harness down into this hole right behind the passenger headlight, and you can see it's hanging down there. And I'm gonna run that wire underneath and back up to the driver's side fog. This relay I'm going to mount. I already have like a mount here that I was using, but I'll zip tie this. I'll stuff this whole bundle into this area, and I'm gonna run my wires through that hole down there, out this side, right? And I'm gonna route the ground to my my terminal there, and still haven't figured out where I'm gonna mount the power, but most likely I'll just run it straight from this terminal here, which is currently hooked up to the positive on the battery. So that is the plan. If you don't have all these wires like me, you can just go straight positive to ground on your battery. But for me, I'm gonna have to cut this and lengthen it, because I am going to mount the relay there, and I need enough wire to get me to there. Okay, that's that. For the fog lights, there is a step that you have to do to remove your liner, right? So in my wheel well, I took out the screws that hold my liner in there, right? You can take out as much as you want just to give you that opening to your fog light, right? So you can see the top mounting hole, or the top fastener, the outboard fastener, and there's one hiding behind there too. So there's 3 fasteners, right? That is the plug that I'm gonna have to disconnect and reconnect to my Baja Designs fog lights, and I'll do the same for the opposite side. So that's what this is gonna look like. This is the driver's side, sorry. So passenger side, right? That's the mounting locations. The 3 holes, 1, 2, 3, and there is some supplied hardware that they give you, because you do have to do some cutting. I think it's just plastic. Here we go. So you're using a T10 Torx bit. They tell you to remove 4 bolts, right? So that's the bolts that I just showed you to gain access. And we're using a 7mm socket to remove the 3 fasteners on the OEM fog light. So on the top of these fog light mounts, you can see this tab right here. Better view of it here. You're gonna end up cutting that tab off, just like that, right? So top of the fog light, that's that guide tab. Just cut that off, right? Make it flush, and then you can install your other fog, the Baja Designs bracket. Let's see, the bottom, so it shows that let's see, there's a supplied screw that you need to install, so I'm assuming that it's these 2 screws right here, and this is the spacer that I'm gonna have to install. Right. So I'll work on the wiring first, and then the last step was probably install the actual lights. So I just wanted to quickly show you how I've been labeling my wires. I'm using this Brady labeling machine, and right now I have a cartridge for the heat shrink. That's the heat shrink tubing in there that'll print straight on there, and I'll cut it off and put it on the wiring. You can also get other options. This one is on nylon cloth. This is a self-laminating vinyl. So this This is good for when like I was showing you earlier on the fog lights. So you can, because I can't put a heat shrink over due to the connectors, I'll just print out the self-laminating vinyl, and you can just roll it around. Because this is a bigger diameter, it didn't go, the clear part didn't go over the lettering, but if you're labeling smaller wires, it'll work. And another option is the regular vinyl. There we go. It's 3/8, and that's what I've been using for just flat surfaces. So yeah, it's a quick demonstration because I need to print out one for my fog lights. I have it on a 14-point font, and you just enter in what you want it to say. And you press print. You're gonna print that out, and in the back you just squeeze it, and that cuts it. So this is the heat shrink I'm gonna put on, and I'll show you the final product. Or actually, you guys seen some of my other ones here. You can see where I did the ditch lights and the floodlights on the side of my racks. So that's gonna go onto this wire right here. Okay, so the relay, I ended up just drilling a hole, and the kit comes with a bolt, so I just used the bolt instead of zip tying it like I said I was gonna do earlier. Relays in there, everything's stuffed in there into this hole. And I got the power, I piggybacked off of this fuse block under there. And the ground, I use this post off of this terminal bus. And that yellow wire was this guy right here that I cut. You can still see the diode in there that I put a heat shrink over and some wire loom, but that's where that goes. So now this Garmin can control my fog lights. The only thing left to do is remove the old ones, my existing ones, and run this wire over that way from under the truck and install the two fog lights that I have. Passenger side is installed. That's what it looks like in there. So this bolt on the top one uses the existing hardware, and this far one down here, if you can get to it. Sorry, the phone doesn't fit in there. With that far one, make sure you put that spacer in between the bracket, so behind here and the mounting location. So this is the screws that is part of the kit. All that's left to do is plug it in and go to the driver's side. So this plug is the one that goes to the existing fog light switch or plug, and this is my main harness, and that'll plug into this guy. And I'll just stuff everything back in there, put back on the fender liner, and move on to the driver's side. Oh, one more thing. That tab that they have you cut off, I also did that. So I just use a pair of wire snips. Or not wire snips, but sheet metal snips, and filed it down. So this is the passenger fog light, and the screw that I was talking about is this guy right there. So there's a washer and a spacer that goes on there. So one thing that I just realized was the Baja plug doesn't fit into the OEM fog light socket, but it does come with this piece right here, this part of the kit. I just thought it was an extra piece, but now I know what it's for. So you'll get a adapter, right? And your adapter piece will plug into the OEM fog light. If you can see the red and the black, just make sure you orient this. You can orient it 180 if you wanted to, right? And you just plug it in that way. And also you need to keep in mind where your red and black is on this piece right there, right? So if I had it up here, you notice it'll be opposite of each other, right? So when you're installing this guy onto this, just make sure you got everything on the right line. Okay, final product, both sides are installed. And all the wiring is hooked up. So when I press my the OEM fog light button, both of them come on. When I use my Garmin, the Garmin triggers the upper one, the white one. And what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out the splitters so both lights act on different circuits. So when I press my fog lights, just the yellow turns on. So there you go. Okay, from the driver's seat, if I press my fog light, both turn on. And if I were to use my Garmin. And that will activate just the top. So that's about it. Okay, it's dark enough. I'll show you guys how the fog lights look, or how it's set up now, because I did take out the splitters. So basically the way it's hooked up right now is the main harness, that relay harness, only controls the white lights, the top one. And because I went straight into the OEM fog lights plugs for the bottom lights, the only way I can turn those on is with the fog light button that's in the truck. So my Garmin is set up for the top lights, right? If I were to push fogs, let me get into a different angle. There we go. So that's what happens. And I could actually leave the fog lights on, the upper fog lights. Alright. Let me get situated in here. Okay, so before I put the splitter in, or when I had the splitter in, when I pressed my fog light button, both the upper and lower would go on. So now that I took the splitter out, just the bottom. And we can also control it with our head unit or the tablet or my phone. That Garmin can connect to 4 Bluetooth devices. Right, so press the fog light again. Sorry, my tablet's on battery saving mode, so all the colors off, but it basically looks like that in color if I did have the battery saving off. But you can see, if I wanted to, I could have both on, and that way it'll function like if you were to input the yellow wire to your head, your highlight. Kind of similar, because the way I had it prior, if I was to flash my highlights, both lights would turn off, my fog lights. Both fog lights would turn off. This way, I think I can flash my highlights. Let me turn on my highlights. I'll flash my highlight, and I'll still have the upper fog light on, because that is hooked up to my Garmin. Alright, so I'll turn it off and both will be on. fog light, and I can turn off my lower fog light. Alright, so that's how I'm controlling the lights.